Where do you feel we were at now? Because I think it's becoming pretty obvious to a lot of people that as humanity, this mass formation psychosis is real. It's huge. It's very powerful. And the agenda is still pushing ahead, even though there's a lot of positives going on as well. So where are you feeling with all the work that you're doing that we are at the moment with who's winning this battle?
Oh, we are clearly winning. We're clearly winning, but we're changing tactics. So instead of, okay, I'm no longer trying to wake anyone up because I see that that's way bigger than me. It's the same as if you're living with a narcissist and you think giving them one more piece of information is going to change them, the way they've hurt you, or could you take a look at this or what? It's not going to work. So the beauty is this: as we light workers, as we empaths, take care of ourselves exquisitely, we no longer have to yell, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." I don't do it anymore. It's like, if you can't see, there's so much information. If you care to look, there's so much. Even Tucker Carlson, by the way, who does his show here in the state of Maine, up north, there's so much information. If you can't see it, if all these athletes dropping dead, if all the died suddenly, sudden adult death syndrome, or it doesn't register with you, if your neighbor dropping dead or the 21-year-old twins wake up dead in their bed, if you can't see that, there's really nothing I can do. But here's what I know for sure, and that is that the light within each of us is growing way, way more powerful, and people are indeed waking up. But it's not like it's going to take that many more people waking up. When the disclosure wakes them up, there'll be three things that happen. One, they'll start throwing up and you're going to have to hold their hair.
Yeah.
Two, they're going to jump off a bridge. Three, they might go on the attack. I don't know how the pediatricians and the doctors giving remdesivir and continuing with what they're doing can live with themselves. This is going to be very, very, very harsh. But when people realize what's been going on, they're going to lose it. In the meantime, though, there are thousands of us, maybe millions of us, who have just decided to go about creating the parallel economy. I mean, we're, getting into gold and silver, bartering, supporting our local farmers. That's all happening. Look at all the people now homesteading, setting up spas. Lee Merritt, I just learned on her website, has the Vax Remorse protocol, and she's really helping people. And I was on a Zoom last night with React 19, and that's a whole group of doctors and others who are helping those who've been injured by the agenda. So it's reaching critical mass. And I always go back to the American Revolution was started and won by only 3% of the population. Most did not want to disconnect from England. And now more and more people are understanding the power grid of the Vatican, the City of London, and Washington, D.C. That's been controlling everything, or the Paysor family, the bloodline families. And here's the way I describe it. Okay, and it gets so out there that kind of keeps me safe. And that would be the negative parasitic Draco-reptilians came to Earth to parasite humanity. They came through CERN, and then they came through the 12 bloodline families, and the royal family is one of them. And if you watch The Crown, which I have been watching, you realize that this family is not who you've been led to believe. And, I always wondered, why are they on the cover of People magazine again? Like, do I care? No. So I'm watching that. Very well done. That's a red pill experience. And that group, and then those one funded both sides of both wars. Yeah. And they've kept humanity enslaved by constant, just like a borderline personality disorder within our own families, make sure that this one keeps fighting against this one. That's what they do. They keep us busy, always in survival mode. And just when we start to rise up, I think about the Roaring 20s after World War I, where, life got beautiful again, and then boom, got to start another world war. Well, we're in World War III here, but this time humanity is going to make it, because that is Project Looking Glass. They cannot stop what's happening. They cannot stop the evolution of humanity. And remember that these negative forces feed on fear and anger. So the minute you stop feeding them, well, you look at Klaus Schwab, the Sith Lord there, and Yuval Harari with his new book, Homo Deus, We Are God. Well, there might be, some groups somewhere in the matrix, getting enough graphene oxide in them so that they can be controlled or whatever. Okay, well, I'm going to be in a whole other group. Humans have enormous power, which we don't. Here's the thing. Not only do they have no sense of humor, so, how are you going to know who they are? They have no sense of humor. They can't do those memes. We'll kill them with memes. And they can't create. So the situation that we're in now, humanity with our creative power, because thoughts have the peculiar quality of becoming their physical equivalents. That's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. We have that power. So we have been programmed by the Matrix, by Hollywood, by the movies, by all the wars. They've used our own creative power to bring us to the cliff. And suddenly you realize, oh my God, I don't want that. I don't want that.
So the best thing we can all do is to be our best versions, and is on purpose. And that's what I've seen you do with all the work you're doing, is you seem so in a flow state. What is it what would you say your key passions are at the moment that are keeping you in that flow state?
One, I love the people that I'm working with. So I'm about to go down to Florida on December 8th, and we're having the Zelenko Foundation, Kevin Jenkins and Ann Vandersteel, decided that they were going to honor the women who've been banging this drum for 30 years. So Sherry Tenpenny and Barbara Lowe Fisher and Maureen McDonald, who started Millions Against Medical Mandates, and me. And then we'll all be interviewed by Ann Vandersteel. And there's a sort of a gala dinner. What I like, what's fun for me, is to have an intent and see what God brings. So Saturday, we're having our holiday healing fair for Maine Stands Up, and we found a space that allows us to rent. Really, remember back in 2020, you could not find a place to gather.
No, you
this was insane. And even now, in my own little town, we can't use any of the municipal spaces that we pay for with our taxes, the library or any of that, because if you say, that you're medical and you're doing freedom kind of things, no. What's fun is to just see how, through intent, you can bring the right people together. Now, when I walk through airports, and I flew all the time in 2021 and the beginning of 2022. And when I'd get off the plane, I would just take off the mask and walk through airports, and no one ever said a thing, ever. And I was the only one. I just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And so now I'm working on a thing to gather sworn affidavits under penalty of perjury of our 21 COVID commonalities. And the COVID commonalities are all the things that any awake nurse or doctor can see. It's all of the stuff. And there was never really a pandemic, and how they did it. And then we have the 200 exhibits, and I'm working with a lawyer who is very skilled in maritime admiralty law, secular law, common law, all of that. And a sworn affidavit read into a video by a doctor saying, I know these things to be true, and then getting it notarized. That's a legal document that can be entered into court. So what we're doing is we're going to get thousands of these, and then he's going to present them somewhere. And discovery is already done, because one of the things that we've discovered in the last 2 years is basically all the courts are compromised. They dismiss every case. The voting is all completely controlled. The Dominion system was created to bring in the people who would protect the nefarious activities. That's what that was for. It was just to bring in the wrong people. So we know we don't have election integrity. So therefore, I've stopped giving any energy to that, and we're doing it ourselves in a really, and then we tried to do this with a big group, and we had a mole in our tech system. So all of these affidavits that were uploaded, all the stuff that I worked on for months, was all compromised. And it's like, okay, this is a hill we're going to take. We're not going to stop, but we do it with love. I got this wonderful meme yesterday, and let's see if you can see it. It's love has arrived, game over.
Brilliant.
And it's this fierce love. It's this fierce love. It's not the naive, oh, everyone is good at heart. And the only people who would do this to humanity must have been harmed in childhood. That is BS love. That's not love. That's sentimentality, treacly love.